Welcome to the realm of magic and mystery, classic horror and sci-fi. You are now entering the House of the Unusual podcast with your hosts, Eddie and Joe. Welcome all you cool ghouls and friendly fiends to the House of the Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pavlansky. With me as always is the maestro of mail order mysteries, Eddie Guevara. And we also have that great horror magician with us once again, Chuck Caputo. What's up, guys?
Hey, okay, pretty good.
Awesome. So we got a great topic of conversation tonight for especially for the Halloween season coming in. But before we get started, let's take a quick moment to talk about some of our friends. And we're going to start off this week with Sea Monkeys, our buddy Todd Machin. Hope he's doing well out there, and we'll have him on soon. But until then, head over to sea-monkeys.com for all your underwater sea monkey needs. They have great stuff there, not just aquariums for sea monkeys, but they have T-shirts, postcards, X-ray specs, and a whole bunch of other goodies to spruce up your sea monkey aquarium. So that's sea-monkeys.com. Also, head over to YouTube. See our brother Chuck Caputo on his YouTube site. It's under Sherry Caputo, and that's Cheri. And Chuck has some great videos under there. Check them out. They're not too long, but just enough to get you going and wanting more. So head over to his site, subscribe to his channel, and like his videos. Also, while you're on YouTube, you might as well check out House of the Unusual site. We have tons of new videos coming up every week. We have the new Chuck's Corner. It's a weekly insight on some magic, which we'll talk to Chuck a little bit more about that. And we also have the Crypt of Classics weekly pick. So what that is when I give you the creepy or the Crypt of Classics creepy movie of the week for you to watch the following week, my little review will hit YouTube. So that way we could discuss, what we liked, what we didn't like about the movie, and, any other comments that you'd like to put up about it. So the first one that came up this week is The Ghoul, which we talked about last week. So head over to YouTube. I have my review of the movie The Ghoul starring Boris Karloff. Also, if you're in the market for some magic books or hypnotic books, head over to 1878press.com. Our buddy Dave Haversack has a great online shop there for any type of magic book you are looking for. Also, the new issue of Scary Monsters, number 123, the Harrowing Haunted Halloween issue, is now for sale. Should be out in bookstores soon if it's not already there. Find it at your local bookstore. Head over to mymoviemonsters.com. It's up for sale there now. You could also get it with a bag and board for an extra $1, so that's a great price. And this issue is fantastic. It is a glow-in-the-dark cover like we talked about last week. So when you put it under light, and then you shut off all the lights, you could see some ghosts on there that you wouldn't normally see under regular conditions. So go ahead and check that out, mymoviemonsters.com. And finally, we have stupidcomicsmagazine.com, and that's stupid spelled STOOPID. And this is the mashup of Far Side, Cracked, and Mad Magazine all rolled into one, some black and white comedy. It is absolutely fantastic. They are on their 4th issue, 5 overall, starting with number 0. So go ahead and check them out. Hopefully issue number 5 will be on sale soon. So that's stupidcomicsmagazine.com. All right, gentlemen, let's get into it. Chuck, we're going to start off with you. How's things going? And tell us a little bit about Chuck's Corner.
Yeah, no problem. Whoop, I'm picking up. Let me lower this. How does that sound better to you guys? Is that okay?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you know what? I've been keeping very busy. I mean, the month of October is really booked. I just did a show today, as a matter of fact, and I'm off tomorrow. Then I'll be working the rest of the weekend. But Chuck's Corner is fantastic. You know what? I enjoy doing it. And my wife came up with a really cool idea. She said, "Hey, let's put the TV set on with with a nice fireplace behind it." So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I've been talking about different subjects. One's coming up for even for the spooky season. Like I talked about some spooky magic and so forth. So it's actually kind of cool. And so you know what? We've been cranking those out in our spare time. It's been, it's been a lot of fun. Oh, the one thing I did want to mention, Joe, I did pick up a copy of the Scary Monsters. Man, that's a really, really cool synopsis in there, and the cover is great too, like you said. The one thing that really stood out inside you know what? Of course, I saw the article that you wrote, which is really great. But there was one mention of The Haunting. You know what? I'm a very big fan of both of the movies. I think the original was 1963, 64, and then they did the remake in maybe 1999 with Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson, I believe. But yeah, those were great. And the one in 1999 had such cool effects because they used a lot of CGI in there and everything. I mean, that was really phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I love both of those movies are good, but I'm always partial to the original. You know, and I was just reading the magazine the other day and came across the article, and I was like, man, I haven't seen the original movie in probably 15 years. I said that's something I definitely have to revisit, but you know, it might make an appearance on the Crypto Classics one of these weeks.
Yeah, that would be cool, man. You know what? The whole story's neat. You know what I mean? It was based off a book. I'm trying to think who wrote that back in 1959 or something. It was actually Shirley Jackson, I believe, wrote the
Yeah,
book.
Shirley Jackson. Yeah, The Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting a Hill House. Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while, and you know, it's one of those movies where it's not really that frightening, but it is. You know, there's
Mhm.
no like monsters or anything, but it really makes you think. You know, are these people are they hallucinating? Is it the house really haunted? I mean, it definitely messes with your mind a little bit.
Oh man, and I tell you what, wherever they filmed these movies, there that was some creepy looking. That was a creepy looking place, man. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I love, you know, sets like that, and you know, a lot of the movies I've really been watching lately have had some nice, you know, nice big haunted mansions or haunted castles, and I really, you know, gravitate towards, you know, set pieces like that. I think they're fantastic.
Oh, you're not kidding, man. You know what? Particularly the second one, you know, that was a gigantic, place, and you know what? And like I said, the CGI in there was unbelievable. That was when the statues came to life, you know, like the griffin and so forth, and
Yeah,
that was really something else. You know what? And almost, well, with the first movie in '63, most actors and actresses are now dead. Yeah, there's a few that are still alive. Well, you figure that was almost 60 years ago, you know,
right.
and
You know, and the 1999 one, I haven't seen that one in such a long time. I have it on DVD, and you know, I've been wanting to revisit that too because it's been such a, you know, a long time. But I remember really enjoying the movie, and I know it didn't fare too well. It got, you know, a few Golden Raspberry Awards, or was
yeah,
nominated for a few. But I thought it was a decent movie. You know,
I thought it was great, man. Yeah, you know, and let's see, Catherine Zeta-Jones was in there too. She did a great job, and
right?
yeah, it was just a cool movie, man.
Yeah. So Eddie, what's going on at House of the Unusual? I know you've been taking care of a lot of stuff there. So what's new?
Well, like everything, just trying to trying to keep up with everything. It's a little hard though. I'll tell you what though, everything that's happening is according, like I always say, it's going to be happening soon. I'm working in the completion of the Magic set, where I'm hoping to have it by early, maybe mid-November, as early as possible, so we can launch it for the Christmas season. That's the one that Chuck has put together there, and it has some fabulous magic tricks inside. And I think it's going to be a hit. The other thing I've been working on is I'm trying to add Crypt of Classics to the main page of the website, and I'm having a little bit of some difficulties on it, but I think it should be working soon. So that, of course, Joe, when you tell everybody about Crypt of Classic, they'll be able to come to our homepage and be able to watch each and every week a new movie that you're going to recommend them. And of course, you being the king of the movies, you should recommend those that are perfect, nail biting, exciting, whatever it is. Now, what I was going to say when you guys are talking about Haunted Mansion reminds me that just a week ago I was down in Walt Disney, and a lot of people say that March and April, but when you go in March and April, the lines are anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. But when you go on a week like now, the beginning of October, we had maybe 10 minutes or less. In fact, I went into the Haunted Mansion, and when I came out, I was doing it by myself, the ride, and I just kept going around and around. I did a total of 6 times. I couldn't get enough of it, and then of course I stopped because I said, "These people are gonna think I'm nuts," you know. But I probably could have done another 10, you know. But one of my favorite things inside the Haunted Mansion, I'm sure you guys have been in it, but there's a picture of a ship, and when the lightning hits it, it turns into a ghost ship. So it's a lenticular picture that's there, and I've always wanted to buy it, but you know I'm kind of reluctant to pay $279 is what they sell it on eBay for. But I'm almost about ready to buy it because it's really a nice item, and if you put it into an old frame, I mean you can't beat that, man. It's a really really sweet item to own. And I was looking at it, and I even recorded in some of the videos I took inside the Haunted Mansions I was going, in which I'm planning to probably post one. I think with all the clips I did from the 6 times, I can make one really decent one, you know? Now, when you guys are also talking about the movies like The Haunting and stuff, I wanted to bring this horror film, but I thought it was interesting. I picked it up on Chiller Theater, the convention a couple of years ago, and it's called The Atomic Submarine. Now, what I think the movie is really a good movie. Good writings. It's naturally not a bad movie. But I've said this before, which, you know, I think in other podcasts, but I thought what was funny is that when you see the submarine that they're sure see a little stick holding it up, you know, as it goes in the ocean. So it's kind of like, I'm sure you guys have seen the very first Superman.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Superman. You ever seen when he flies, it's a stick and you could see the little character on top of it?
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, but Joe, I got to tell you, so far this year, my favorite top film so far has been The Old Dark House.
I'm glad you liked it. That's definitely a classic, man.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I actually checked that out last week. Like I said, you know, since you guys were mentioning that, that really was. It was cool. It's amazing in the beginning when that car almost got hit by that mudslide and it went through. That was some pretty good. That was some pretty good filming there. Wow.
For the year, what I thought was funny though is being a car that old. You know, I mean, back in, it was going through mudslides. It was going through everything. And nothing stopped it.
Yeah, nothing stopped it. It's got those skinny tires. You'd think it would get hung up. Wow.
Yeah, that's really amazing. You can tell actually there's parts of it if you really look at it, Chuck. Model car they're pushing along, you know.
It's a model. I figured, yeah.
A small scale, but it's really cool though. I mean, the movie has. I don't know if they use like I think Joe, you mentioned this in your review that sometimes you think that they use the same settings because if you look at the Old Dark House, the House on Haunted Hill. They kind of have that gothic castle-like appearance. Right. The floor of the House of Usher.
Yeah, well, just like with anything, you know, they always wanted to save money. So, you know, there were some movies that were filmed on location, but a lot of the times they took pictures or film of the location, came back to their studio, and then, you know, recreated the sections that they wanted. And then, you know, they ended up using them for, you know, different movies over the years, which, you know, would definitely save money. And, you know, you could see them throughout the movies. You know, there's little differences here and there.
I mean, the thing you got to remember is most of all, is like when they build the columns and stuff. I don't know if back then they used styrofoam. In fact, I don't even know if in the 1930s styrofoam was invented. But I know that when you go today, a lot of times to those Halloween shops like Party City and stuff, and you get any of those props, they're usually made of styrofoam, but they look like real, you know, like they look.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, they do. They're fantastic. Wow.
Yeah, especially, you know, you put something like that in a black and white movie where you can't really tell, you know, the intricate details, and you put it in a certain situation, and it almost makes your mind believe that it does make your mind believe that that's, you know, a real object, you know, if it's a club, a sword, or a knife, when here it's just, you know, something that's styrofoam or plastic.
Let me tell you, it's not only that, it's what's really, and this is something I think back in before let's go back a few years. Let's go back to the mid-'80s, late 80s. An ad one time I'm not sure it was Popular Science that said build your own portable haunted house, take it from location to location. It fits in back of a pickup. And somehow I'm like, wow, that's really cool. So I was going to send away for the plans, and somehow along the line, I never did. I kind of regret that to this day, even though I've, bought similar ads to that, but I'm not sure if it was the exact same one. But to me, you build with, especially with today's things, you can actually take a couple of sheetrocks if you have a 4x4 and build some type of portable haunted house. Take it to one of those weekend flea markets and charge people to go in. That'll be phenomenal.
Well, that's your new project, Eddie. You need to build a portable haunted house. House of the Unusual, and hit up your local flea market.
That's my project. Been trying to do that. You want to know what's really funny about that? That there was bringing. This is where I got this idea back in, I don't know, a year. I guess probably there was and I mentioned this before, that I went into a carnival and there was this 24-foot straight job. And the 24-foot straight job, a truck, they had converted into, like, they called, and it had kind of like when you go and we talked about the different amusement parks in New Jersey and in, Pennsylvania and stuff, where they had the tunnel that it spins. And well, anyway, they had that inside the truck. And when you went in from the front, you walked into the back and you had the thing spinning. So supposedly they called it the black hole. Then another thing that I found fascinating is that they had like the UPS trucks, but the ones that are a little bit extended. This lady had an entire beauty shop, not a beauty shop, a boutique built into that. And you would, she opened the two back doors, you climb up the stairs. She had the cash register. She had a fitting room. And it was a really, really nice shop on wheels. And I've always been really, and one of the things that actually brought me to that, to liking stuff like that, was when I was young, I saw one time in a gas station a Mac truck, the Mac tools, pull up, and the guy opens the back thing and he's got a whole shop in there with a cash register and everything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of haunted attractions, I was thinking the other day, it seems like over the last 10, 15 years, a lot of the haunted houses during Halloween have been, I guess, decreasing in the amount that's around. Because I remember back in the, the 90s and even real early 2000s that, every corner you turn in October, there would be a different haunted house or a different type of haunted attraction.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't seem like there's really much around, and you don't really see them advertised any place. At least here in Northeast Ohio, I don't know if you guys, are seeing the same thing around where you guys live.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like you said, 20, 25 years ago, there was even like, the local Boy Scouts would they rent out a space somewhere like in a building, and it put together that, it didn't turn out to be the greatest haunted house, but they would put together to raise some money, for the Boy Scouts and things of that. And they were coming up all different places, but now the ones that are in existence, they tend to be the more professional ones, and they do charge a lot of money. I mean, wow, yeah. The entrance to get into these things is phenomenal.
Yeah, it seems like they've gone to real, there might be in a general area one real big one, and then that's kind of it. Back 20, 25 years ago, there was, you would have a big one somewhere, but then there would be small ones all over. You would have, a witch walk, or some organization would have one going, but not anymore.
No, you're right.
Here's what I think it's in my area, for example. My area, before COVID, I think there were like 5 haunted houses per neighborhood for some reason. 2 years ago, it got really, really high. Now this year, it got a little kind of lame, but the only thing that's happened this year is that people are going to, in fact, it's been online. People have been complaining that they're going to Home Depot, they're going to Lowe's to buy Halloween stuff, and everything's sold out. People, for some reason, are just buying in quantities any type of Halloween item or seasonal item, because I think they're just into decorating this year. But one thing I'm going to tell you guys that you guys maybe not know much about, but if you go, say, for example, in my area, there's Sleepy Hollow, which is upstate New York. It's about an hour from my house. And they put in, especially down in Salem, Massachusetts and stuff, they put a lot of haunted house and performances. during the Halloween season. And some people that have gone there tell me it's phenomenal. They do hay rides, they do all that stuff. Now, what I'm going to say is that, especially like, let's say, for example, if you go to Lake George, where I've gone with David, there's 2 haunted houses right there. Walk through. I'm more like my favorite haunted houses are the ones, of course, you ride in the Doom Buggy, which really no longer really exists anymore. But, you know, one thing that I know has gone up more than ever, especially because I was just in by Florida, and I went to one of the souvenir shops by where we were staying, in the timeshare place we were staying.
Yeah.
And it's loaded with St. Augustine ghost tours and this and that ghost tours. And they charge like $38-$40 a person to go on those things.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, they're making, and if you go to Boston, Massachusetts, right next to the famous Constitution Inn, where the actual USS Constitution ship is, which is still an active battleship. Of course, it's 200 years old, but they still have it there, and it's the oldest, and it's a phenomenal piece to be on. To be honest with you, I've been on it. It's just an awesome, beautiful ship that's got about 2 inches of polyurethane on the wood, but it's a really beautiful piece. And
but you know what, Eddie, you mentioned Halloween decorations, people buying them. I was at local Big Lots last week, and they had 1 aisle of Halloween stuff, and then their big open area and the shelf surrounding it was all Christmas stuff, Christmas decorations, trees, and everything. And I'm like, it ain't even Halloween yet. Yeah. Why the heck are they putting out Christmas stuff?
They shouldn't do that. Wow.
They've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years. But what I was telling you though is, the Constitution is, when I came out, there was ghost tours. There's like I think that to sign up. But I'll tell you one thing, when you said, Big Lots, I went to Big Lots about 2 weeks ago, a little bit before, like a couple of days before I went to down to Orlando. And one of the things that got me kind of pissed off was they had a coffin with a skeleton in it, really nice. And the skeleton's supposed to get up and lie down, really cool. And it was 30% off. I don't know why it was 30% off. It wasn't, but I'm trying to buy it, and they didn't want to sell it to me. Oh, that's the display model. I said, what do you mean you can't sell it to me? Do you have, I don't know if we're going to get any in. So if you're not going to get any in, why do you have it displayed for? Why do you put a price on the damn thing?
I went to, I was at Target the other day too with my wife, and we were going to look at the Halloween stuff. There was hardly anything there. I mean, the shelves were absolutely bare, and they had the tags on, so there had to have been.
That's what I'm saying.
There at one point, but there was nothing, no costumes, no there might have been 2 or 3 items, on a row of shelves, and I'm like, where the heck is everything? Because a few years ago they had they had a contract with the Universal Studios, so they had some of the Universal monster stuff out, mainly Frankenstein. They had some Wolfman stuff and Mummy, but they only got a limited supply of that, and once it was sold out, they got no more in, and then the following years they never got anything like that. And it seems like the stuff they are getting in is just very, very cheap, and it's very, very expensive.
Yeah, right. I did notice that. You're right. Yep.
I haven't bought Halloween decorations since Target had the Universal Monster decorations, and I keep those up pretty much year round around my house. Most of them are in my bedroom. But when it comes for Halloween, there's not really much that I decorate except the outside, because my inside's, I'm Halloween almost, year round. But, if I was somebody, say a young couple or something that just moved into, their first house and they wanted to start getting decorations, there's nothing out there for them. I'm grateful that I've bought stuff over the years, and, just my regular horror and sci-fi stuff, is up year round, and I have an abundance of it. But if you're somebody that's young and you're just you need to get decorations for your new apartment or house, man, there's slim pickings out there. You got to really look.
Definitely. Hey, but if you go back to the haunted houses, like the haunted attractions, that's a relatively new concept. I mean, here in Pittsburgh, 1974, maybe 75 was when one actually started. It was on the north side of Pittsburgh. and it was for the March of Dimes. And I was maybe 10, 12 years old, and I heard on the radio, it said, come join us at the March of Dimes haunted house here in the Pittsburgh North Side. You know what? And so I asked my dad, who's driving the car, I said, what the heck is that? He said, I don't know. It must be something new. That was when it all started here anyway, by 1974, 1975. And it just took off from there, So
yeah, you know what? And I listen to the radio probably more than I watch TV, and I don't even hear advertisements on the radio anymore for haunted houses. And they used to be, I mean, come mid-September, that's all you would hear. Every 15 minutes would be advertisement for haunted houses. And now it's, man, if you hear one every couple hours, you're lucky.
Oh yeah. And they got very complex over the last 10 years or so. I mean, they use a lot of actuators. Like you could hear the pistons firing off, when you step on the actuators and everything. I mean, they got really, really complex, man. They got really nice. I guess that's why they charge so much to get into these things.
Yeah, and that could be the downfall of them too, is charging so much because people don't have that disposable income like they used to, and who's going to spend $15-20
go to
a haunted house because you got a family of 4 or 5 that goes there. You're looking $100 or more.
Oh yeah, one place a couple of years ago, my son took my wife and I, and he brought his girlfriend, which he's since married her. They got married a few weeks ago, but $35 a person to get in. Okay, but then you could upgrade it like a VIP line where it doesn't take nearly as long. You know what? It was so crowded. So that's what we did. So we put an extra 15. I think it was $15. So it was $50 a person. You know what I mean? It was like, holy smokes! By the time we went through there, my wife and I spent $100.
Yeah, then you got to get, if they have snacks, you got to get, hot apple cider or elephant ear or something, if they have it. So I mean, you're spending, quite a lot of money. And I was thinking too, because I'm getting kind of excited because the new Halloween movie comes out this Friday. So I'm, it's one of my favorite film franchises, of slasher movies.
Absolutely.
And it's been a couple years since I've been to the movie theater, so I don't think it's streaming anywhere. So I'm going to probably be sitting in the movie theater by myself unless I could drag a buddy out. But, I'm wondering, how much are movie tickets now? Because they've been continuously going up. I think the last time I went to a theater, it was, $15-17 or so to get in. And then if you get something to drink, popcorn and all that, you're looking at $30.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, in my area, they didn't go up at all. It's still $10.50 a person, and this is, I think,
that's not bad.
Regal Cinema. Yeah, but what they get you is when you go inside, you order freaking a ton of popcorn and stuff.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
You can't really blame them because they don't make any money off of the movie. They make a pittance off of that, so they have to, upcharge the snacks and all that. And then, we all, complain about it, but if we didn't buy those, if people didn't buy them and they didn't have those prices, there would really be no movie theaters because they don't make anything off of the movies coming there. So they couldn't, rely just off of that. When I was back in June at the Vandergrift Drive-In for the Monster Bash there, and they had their concession area, and it's regular price like a movie theater. But I was talking to one of the ladies that runs it, and she said that's how that they are able to stay open is from either donations or their snacks at the concession stand. Yeah, because otherwise movies they don't get anything.
Oh, hey, how about the worst part when you go see a movie indoor at a theater? You know what? I always try to sit away from people if it's possible. I swear there was one woman one time. She kept saying, "Don't go in there. Don't go in there." Oh, come on. I was like, holy smokes, will you keep quiet? You know what I mean?
That's why I tried. If I go to the movies, when I did go, it was usually in the afternoon, during the week when kids would still be in school or people would still be at work. So I'd go in there and it'd be me and 5 other people, and I would sit, all the way at the top, in the back, in the middle, and
that's
just
great.
away from everybody. But yeah, you hit like a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday matinee, you get all the kids in there, and it's just it's bad.
Terrible. That used to happen a lot in my area, to be honest with you. And I used to go to the movie theater almost every week. And in fact, right before COVID, I had a habit that anytime a good movie came out and opening day was always midnight, me and my friend, my son and stuff would go in at 12 midnight and watch most of the films. Usually, and there's like 14 plex. There's one that's 22 plex, 22 movie theaters. And they're
Wow.
literally about a mile away from my house. I have a 16 plex. And the thing with it though is I never really had a situation. I know back in the 80s and stuff, you go to the movie theaters, regular movie theaters in New York, whatever, you had kids screaming or whatever. But I never, you go in, it's very professional. People are just quiet, everybody leaves, and the movie theater is packed. I'm talking about where there's absolutely no seats available.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys one thing. If you really want to enjoy one particular film in the movie theater, which blew my mind, this was the movie that Sandra Bullock did. Was it called Gravity? The one
Oh, yeah, where she's in space.
Yeah, it's Gravity, right? So that's the name
Yeah.
of it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, I sat. Now this was 3D. I sat in the very, very first row, where I'm looking right above at this 40-foot screen. My friend, when Sandra Bullock landed on the beach there and stuff, I almost caught her with my arms. That was the most phenomenal. The film itself, when you watch it home, it's kind of like, okay, you give it 4 stars, not 5.
Yeah.
But if you watch it in 3D, the effects on that film were phenomenal. But the idea is to watch it right up front.
Well, you know what, Eddie and Chuck, I have the perfect antidote for the theater experience. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I have the perfect antidote. So if you're someone out there like, you don't like the theaters, you don't like going out there, I got the perfect antidote for you, and it's the Crypt of Classics.
There you go.
So this week for the Crypt of Classics, if you're like us and you have some issues at the movie theater, you can't get out there, afford it, man, I have the movie for you this week, and you could sit in the comfort of your own home in your living room, grab a hot cup of coffee or a cold pop, and you could find it online, or you probably got it on DVD. I know it's usually in one of those 50 movie DVD bundles that you can find for fairly cheap at the store. But this week's movie for the Crypt of Classics is The Devil Bat, 1941. And I tell you what, we were talking about some, haunted castles and all that set pieces. This one absolutely does the job for that. So The Devil Bat was released by Producers Releasing Corporation on December 13th, 1940 in the United States, and on April 25th, 1941 in London, and stars Bela Lugosi as mad scientist Dr. Paul Carruthers. The film was directed by Gene Yarborough and produced by Jack Gallagher. Runtime of 1 hour and 8 minutes, and is based on an original story by George Bricker and turned into a screenplay by John Thomas Neville. As a chemist and physician, Dr. Paul Carruthers is insulted by his employers and vows for revenge. He creates large bats from ordinary ones and trains them to be drawn to a new aftershave. Once his target applies the aftershave, Dr. Carruthers unleashes the bat to attack and kill. 2 reporters, Johnny Layton, played by Dave O'Brien, and his photographer, One Shot McGuire, played by Donald Kerr, arrive and begin to unravel the mystery. So this film is an absolute fantastic film from 1940, and it has some great set pieces. If you're like us and you like those castle set pieces and secret passages and secret rooms, this is the film for you. It does have a sequel that came out in 1946 called The Devil Bat's Daughter, which stars Rosemary LaPlanche as Dr. Carruthers' daughter. However, Bela Lugosi is sadly not in the movie. Also, if you want a little bit more about this movie, I did an article in Scary Monsters number 119, Filmmaking Behind the Screams issue, and I talk a little bit about all the secret passages and hidden doorways within the movie. So definitely check this one out. You could find it on YouTube. And like I said, you probably got it sitting on your DVD shelf. And hey, forget the movie theater. Sit at home. You got all your snacks and your comfort foods there, and pop in The Devil Bat from 1940.
Wow,
what do you think? You guys ever seen that one?
No, I never saw it. I'm going to check that out, man.
Good film. Of course, I saw it because it's Bela Lugosi. When you're talking about that you also mentioned with the Scary Monsters cover, I forgot to mention to you. You guys do realize that the book Mail Order Mysteries by Kirk Damaris, when you turn off the lights, the cover has glow in the dark features, right?
No, I did not know that.
Oh
No.
my God, are you kidding me? It has the little ghost, the Johnson Smith ghost in the binding, and in the back it has like a spiral hypnotic thing, and in the front it has If you
Oh,
turn off the light, the book will grow in the dark. That's
I will
same
check
thing they
that.
didn't
I will
skip.
check
Now,
that out. Wow, I didn't
unfor-
know.
yeah,
Well,
it
we've only
definitely.
been talking about the book for a year, so you just mentioned it now.
Well,
Oh,
that's a
I'll have to
feature.
check
I'm
that out.
surprised. A
Wow.
lot of people don't see that, but you know what? It's kind of like the same thing with Scary Monsters. Now, the thing with Scary Monsters is my stupid Barnes and Noble here decided, because they're putting corporate on board, that they are not carrying a lot of the books right now. And Scary Monster has been missing from the shelves for the last 4 or 5 months now.
Well, you need to go there with a pitchfork and a torch and tell them to get that book on the shelves. Hey,
Yes,
until you do that, I got you covered with the current issue and the last one. So they should be as soon as I could pick up the newest one at my Barnes and Nobles. I'll ship them out to you. But in the meantime, get your pitchfork and torch and head over there and tell them what you want.
exactly. I was going to take the whole towns with me.
There you go.
You got to take the townspeople, and then everybody. But I'll tell you one thing though: the Devil Bat is, when you mentioned that film, it's really a nice film. It's best, He's got
Yeah,
that look, his eyes,
he plays a perfect mad scientist. Absolutely.
right. And you know what's so funny is that throughout the years, because of Bela Lugosi, every Dracula, no matter who it is, has to have an accent.
Oh yeah.
That's true. You're right.
But I tell you what, when you watch The Devil Bat, there are a few times where if you find a nice clean copy. I think the one I watched last was on Blu-ray or was a remastered DVD. I can't remember, but you could see the wires used for the bat. So
yeah, you could.
If you get a remastered version, just keep that in mind. You will see the wires, but if you watch the one on YouTube, it's a little bit not as clean. And you could still kind of see him there if you're really looking. But I mean, it's a fun movie. It's only an hour and 8 minutes. It goes by quick, and it's a blast.
It is a good film. But one thing I was going to tell you too, when you say one of my favorite characters as Dracula was the Count. The puppet from Sesame Street. I used to love him.
He was hilarious.
He was hilarious. Do you know why they called me the Count? But he always had the Bela Lugosi accent. And the funny thing about it, if you look at him sideways, when he stands sideways, he looks like Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny, that I say, wow, they make a. But the other thing, and I'm sure you guys got to remember this. I know maybe Joe, you're not going to remember it, but Chuck, do you remember when they had the electric company?
Oh, absolutely.
And you had Morgan Freeman as Vincent, the vegetable vampire.
Yep,
oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
He was scary, man. He was very scary.
You know what, Eddie? You bringing up Dracula and vampires. I just remembered because I'm doing an article for another magazine on monster characters in breakfast cereals, which has been absolutely fantastic. So,
that's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I bought a book a couple weeks ago, and it's huge. It's a huge book. I mean, there's like almost 500 pages, and it's the complete history of breakfast cereals. And there are tons and tons of photos in there. So if you guys could find to go on eBay or Amazon, just type in breakfast cereal book and it'll pop up. It's a yellow cover. They're getting harder to find because there's a limited print. But if you're really into cereals, check this out. Check the book out. But going into it, I didn't realize, and I had texted Eddie a couple of days ago. I bought a box of cereal. It's called Monster Mash. And it has all the Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Boo Berry, Fruit Brute, and Yummy Mummy on the front. They're all playing instruments. Well, here, I didn't even realize it, is that this is the 50th anniversary of Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Boo Berry, who came out in 1971, where Fruit Brute came out in 1974 and Yummy Mummy in 1988. But they have the anniversary edition boxes out on the shelves now. I didn't pick up the single ones because they had just some real large ones, and I didn't want to pay $5 just for the box and give away the cereal because I don't eat the cereal. But they do have smaller ones out that I'm gonna look for. But I did buy the Monster Mash one, and it's beautiful artwork on it. It has all of them on the front playing a music instrument, and it says 50th anniversary. But yeah, I didn't even realize that. I'm sure Eddie did because he's real big into the monster characters with the boxes.
I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, I used to love the commercial for the Monster cereals and all that. And I was a kid that never ate cereal in my life. I hated cereal, still do. But I used to tell my grandmother I would eat it, and I just wanted it for the toy inside. And then I take out the toy. And,
I think we all did that.
But yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you one thing, though. I have bought for the last, 10, 15 years, I bought every single edition of the Monster cereals when they come out. Now, they're usually in Target and stuff. They usually have like $2.50 a box or whatever. So what I did is when I saw the Monster Mash, I was buying one of each, and I saw the Monster Mash because if you guys know, in the back you can actually download songs.
Yeah, I seen that.
And I'm actually going to record them just to have them and record it because. But the thing is with the cereal is that I was going and I picked up one of each, and they didn't have the Count Chocolate small box; they had sold out. So what I did is I bought the larger box of Count Chocolate in Target instead of ShopRite where I had gotten the other ones. But one thing is when I'm walking, I realized with the Monster Mash, I'm like, wait a second. If you guys remember when Fruit Brute came out, it only lasted about, I don't know, a year or two, and then they stopped making it. And Yummy Mummy, the same thing. Those boxes demand pretty good money. Some of them go for as much as $200 to $300. Now, I'm one of those kids that actually have copies of each of those. In fact, I think I have like 3 original Yummy Mummies and like 2 Fruit Brute because I used to buy them each and every year. What I do to force myself to eat them, and right now this is going to make you laugh, is what I'm about to say, is I'll put them into the blender and I'll mix them in with milk and put a banana or something and just drink it. And this way I finish the box like in three drinkings because I fill it up to the very top, the blender, and so it takes half the box right there. But
well, let me ask you this, Eddie. You were probably like me at Target with your cereal boxes. Now I looked through their whole shelf. I found the most prestige one I could find that had no dings, no dents in it. And then I took it to the cash register, and I would not let the lady touch it. I made her scan it, and I grabbed my own bag and put it in my own bag because it couldn't be with anything else, and I didn't want them to dent it or ding it because then I'd have to go back to the aisle, find another one.
Well, what's kind of funny is I walked up and down. I started thinking about the Monster Mash. I said, man, this thing is going to be a special edition. They're not going to put it out again. So I bought 8 boxes. And the reason I bought 8 boxes because I called my friend on the phone and go, hey, Jim, you know that. And by the way, now that I say friend, shout out to Jim and Charlie, and also to my little grandson, Lucas, who's going to be hearing this show tomorrow because he wanted to kind of help me on tonight with it. And but anyway, Jim goes to me, are you going to send the guys any of it? And I said, wait. So I went ahead and I bought 8 boxes of the thing. So I go home, and then when Joe, when you showed that you had it, I'm like, you guys can get in your own supermarket. It makes no sense to pay $6-7 to ship a box out there.
Yeah,
definitely. But what I
tell you what was cool too is it was that Todd sent us a picture of Quisp. And I didn't even know that they were still making Quisp cereal.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they stopped for a while. Quisp came back about 5 or 6 years ago, and I used to love Quisp as a kid for whatever reason. The propeller in the head, I thought it was cool to buy a hat with a propeller, But
I haven't had Quisp cereal in probably 30 years, man.
You can get it in Target. They sell it in Target. They sell it. I actually bought another box that's in my trunk right now. If you want, Joe, if you don't find any, I'll ship it over to you at least. But
I'll have to let you know. I'm gonna check Target next time I'm out there and see if they have it just for the box. Like I said, I won't eat the cereal. Usually I'll give it away to somebody I work with that has kids or something. But I just want the box. I mean, like you said, that character is absolutely fantastic.
Well, when I opened all my boxes, and I have 8 boxes of cereal, plus the other 4 That's a total like 12. How do I said, man, I got to get rid of the cereal before my wife finds out I bought so many boxes. So my daughter's boyfriend comes by. I say, hey, you like it? Boo. I gave him 2 of the Monster Mash. Here, take 2. And then my son came and I gave him 2 more of the, they made a special edition Haunted House one. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's orange and it has bats in it. And I think it's,
yeah, that came out, what, couple years ago, didn't it?
No, it came out, but it came out this year, but a new version. So I bought 2 of those boxes, and they're peanuts. I think it is peanut or something peanut crunch. They're bats. But anyway, I took that and I gave those 2 to my son, and I hid the other boxes, and I still have 4 in my trunk.
Yeah.
I think Count Chocula did a box like that a couple years ago. It was orange with black bats on it, and it had kind of like a
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, cool. It had almost like some kind of like a tinfoil type thing on the front, I believe. It was pretty intricate.
I have it. I have those boxes. You want to know which is the best one of all, though? Tricks is for kids. Came out with a hypnotic. They had this commercial a couple of years ago, and the rabbit was hypnotized. So they came out with on the box itself with a pair of spiral eyes that looked like the Hypno coin we sell, and it had 2, small. So I went ahead and I bought 2 boxes of that, of course, and then you could send away for a pair of Hypno glasses that in reality was just a pair of sunglasses with a spiral on it. It wasn't like the hypnotic glasses, that Dunninger made back in the 1960s through Transscience, which Todd is which we have a couple of those. I mean, I have like 3 of those pairs, but the hypnotic glasses, you had to buy 4 box tops or something and pay like $4 to order it. So I remember the stunt I pulled was I bought one, sent away for it, of course. But since I didn't want to cut the boxes out, what I did is I called up the company and said, hey, I ordered this about 2 months ago and I still haven't received it. Oh, we'll send you out another one. And I did that twice, and I got 3 pairs from the process.
I tell you what the boxes I'm really looking for, and I know we've talked about it before, is that in 1987, Count Chocula had a box with Bela Lugosi as Dracula on it, and Frankenberry had a box with Boris Karloff as Frankenstein on it. Now, the Dracula one, pretty easy to find on eBay. Usually there's 1 or 2, sometimes 3 up there. They go anywhere for $100 to $200. But there was one of the Frankenberry one that I've seen, and it just sold the other day for $400.
Wow.
I'm surprised that I have those. I actually have Joe, I don't want to put my hopes up and promise you anything because I don't know where I have them. I haven't seen them in years, but I did buy them when they came out. They were $2.50 a box, and I obviously picked 2 of each. My favorite old time was, of course, Boo Berry.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
They stopped making Boo Berry in the 1980s. We introduced them a couple of years ago. One of those boxes, the Boo Berry boxes that, the last one they made back in the 80s goes for a lot of money. But if you get, and I have also the characters, I have like 2-3 inch hard plastic characters of Boo Berry and the originals. And one thing that I one of the most sought after boxes of which you don't even see them. I've never seen one on eBay. I've seen the records that came in back of them was Honeycomb. Honeycombs used to have flexi records in the back that you cut out, and they were.
Oh, I remember that. I remember those.
Okay, I have one original box that was sent to me from the guy who runs the archives for Post cereals for Honeycombs, and they sent me one of the original boxes by mistake or whatever it was, and it's never been open, whatever. And I also have all the flexis because I bought them on eBay, $10, $15, $20 a piece, and I bought all the ones that were produced. But if you get a box like that on eBay, it's probably going to do about $1,000.
Wow.
Because it's very to come by. And let me tell you something. One of my dreams, and the reason I was so involved with cereals, when I joined forces with Lou Wise in the Fun Factory in 1989, I contacted now so that you guys understand what happened with the cereal, the incentives in them. In the 1980s, the government started cracking down in what they felt was fraud or mail fraud in the cereals and false advertising for kids or anything that was geared to kids. And what happened was, and this is true, anytime a cereal box would show on TV a character or whatever, like I remember there was this Frankenstein and Dracula that would walk that also came in honeycombs, and it had like a little ball with a string, and then you put the string over the side of the table, it would table.
Right.
And they showed it, and you thought it was like 2 inches tall, but when you got the thing, it was about the quarter. So those are the things that that they started cracking down. So it got to the companies were being sued by the Federal Trade Commission, and they stopped making incentives for cereals. But before in the 70s, that's all cereals had, especially Crack Jacks. The toy in the box or the toy inside is what sold the product.
Oh, absolutely.
I tried contacting General Mills to see about putting the 7-foot ghost in the cereal, but I was going to have like a plan on how to make it. I forgot what exactly, and I did it with Lou Wise, and I still have the letter from General Mills where they said they were interested. They wanted I have it there. The lady who wrote me said, it sounds like it would be nice to bring that back to the cereals again. The only problem is I never completed the item. I never completed. I mean, I had the ghost, but you can't put a ghost inside a cereal. So I was asking, to see. But the problem with that is anytime you deal with companies like General Mills and stuff, they want you to have several thousands in stock.
Oh, yeah.
That they can. In other words, you have to sign up for David that if the orders come in and you don't fill them, you can be in big trouble. You might be liable. I kind of didn't pursue it, but it kind of entered my mind recently when I was looking at Quisp for the House of the Unusual. It would be nice to, because Quaker is a company that it's still powerful. They make obviously oatmeal, Quaker oats, and all this, and they make the Quisp cereal. Now Quisp has been in business since the 1970s, and they're kind of lame. There's nothing in the box that would incite a person to buy. So I was thinking of calling them and introducing something for the House of the Unusual, a magic trick or something that could be in there, because I think it would be phenomenal if we can manage to pull that off.
That would be cool. Yeah.
It would be cool.
Hey, I'll tell you what, all this talk of the cereal brings back memories. Way back when I was a kid, man, I used to love Blueberry, and I used to drink a lot of the Nestle's Quick. I used to love the strawberry. That was phenomenal, but the sad part, when you get older, all that stuff is, I got type 2 diabetes. I take metformin. I got to watch my sugar, so I just eat like cornflakes. I eat the real bland stuff now. So that's the sad part about it.
Yeah, with my diet, I don't regular cereals. I get like a gluten-free organic vegan too, and there are some out there that are very good, but some it tastes like you're eating cardboard and all that. And I look at some of these cereals and I'm like, oh, I would just love a bowl of that, but then I know I'd feel like crap after it.
I'm also celiac, Joe. I have celiac, so I can't eat gluten. And you know what? Try being Italian and you can't eat pasta.
Oh, right? Yeah, I could imagine.
That's like the worst thing in the world, man. I got to eat gluten-free pasta, like corn base or rice base. Oh, is it nasty? Oh.
You know what you forgot to mention, Joe? Chuck, that I'm going to blow your mind with. Do you remember when you said, obviously you said strawberry Quick, Nestle Quick? Don't you remember that all the Nestle Quicks in the 70s had inside a sticker or something that you got for free?
Yep. Oh yeah, I remember that. And my parents would get soap powder at the local store, a box of soap powder, and there'd be a towel in there. I don't know if you remember that, but they used to look forward to the different designs of the towels. There'd be a
wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they used to pull out a big towel and say, "Hey, look at this. This is a nice design."
But here's the other one you forgot. Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread always used to have either baseball cards in them.
Oh yeah.
They had a set of magic cards back in the 70s that you would buy Wonder Bread, and each of the Wonder Bread would have a magic card inside that did original magic cards. But Wonder Bread, I used to buy Wonder Bread just because of that. I didn't at the time Wonder Bread. But that's what I'm saying. People forgot that all that stuff had the toy. and that's what attracted us kids into it.
Oh,
And of course, the
absolutely.
parents would buy it for you. You know.
You know what? Even Cracker Jacks used to have cool toys in it. Now,
Oh,
if you get them, you might get a little sticker or a small rub on tattoo or something. But man, there used to be cool little toys in
oh yeah.
Cracker Jacks. I feel
Oh.
bad for the kids now, man. They're not getting nothing.
No,
Well,
you know what? I think Cracker Jacks had those little skulls, if I'm not mistaken, with the moving jaw where it was spring loaded. I mean, they were pretty cool, man. When I was
Yeah,
little young.
you could get a little car in there or a little
Yeah,
action figure or something. I mean, now it's like,
total junk.
man, why would you even buy it? I mean, that was part of the fun of buying Cracker Jacks is the toy.
the reason, to be honest with you, that they stopped at that is because the Federal Trade Commission saw that there were, and it's true. I mean, you know how many times I bought the cereal and I went inside and I go, what? This thing's pretty small, man.
Yeah.
And yet you're looking at this thing and it was huge outside in the cupboard. But you know what? The fun of it, man, the fun that it was inside the box and stuff is what made, like, to me, going to the cereal aisle in the local supermarket was like
it was
going
heaven,
to a
man.
magic shop.
It was heaven.
But you know what, Eddie? It wasn't just what was in the box, too. It was what was on the back of the box.
It was on the back of the box.
You remember, man, there would be puzzles on there. There would be, pictures where you'd have to find different items. There would be maze puzzles. Now, there's none of that stuff on there. I mean, you would sit down and look at the back of the box, read the little story or do the maze or the crossword puzzle. Now they don't, there's none of that on it.
No.
One thing, though, no matter what, and this is really the thing that made it most exciting for me, was not just the thing, was the fact that the variety, we're talking tricks, Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch had a thing called the Sea Wolf. Do you remember that? The Seafaring Witch, I think it was, or the Sea Witch.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a little model kit that you put together, and it would, had a balloon. There was another one, Chuck. You got to remember this one. It was like it looked like a little upside down flying saucer.
I remember that.
You put a balloon on it, and it will fly up like a hot air balloon.
Yep, I remember that.
All that stuff, man. That was so phenomenal. And the greatest one, I don't remember which cereal box had it. I don't know if it was Trix, if it was Captain Crunch, but there was one that bought, I think there were 6 different magic sets. And you see, they were smart because they put it in different boxes. And in order for you to complete the thing, you had to buy 6 different boxes. And sometimes you got the same thing over and over. Hey, I remember there were these stamps that they said, I forgot the name of the stamps. They were like little round stamps. They look like those. Today they call them polka dots. I forgot. They're about the size of a 50-cent piece. They're round. And back in the 70s, they used to sell a book.
Are you talking about Pogs?
Yeah, they look like Pogs. But back in the 70s, you would buy a book, and the book inside would be like 1 through 1,000. And it will be Universal Monsters one page. The other one was soccer. And you would buy these packs for like 25 cents. And they had so many. And you put the stickers. And supposedly, if you completed the book, you got a free bike, which I don't know if anybody ever got the bike.
Wow.
Well, hey,
but let me tell you, to get the Dracula and the Frankenstein in there that I wanted, I did finish it. But it literally took me over a year buying. And somebody traded and gave it to me. I lost it in the fire, the whole book with the thing, but I would love to.
Well, hey, guys, I hate to butt in here now because we could talk about cereal all night, and we might have to pick this up on the next episode or something, all the different cereals and snacks and all that. But we got about a minute left here. So I'm going to close it down, and I want to say a thank you to everyone out there who is listening. Head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to our channel. Give us a nice 5-star review if you so choose. Also, head over to houseoftheunusual.com. We have a free forum site there for you to join. Talk with some like-minded individuals. There's always some cool photos going up from people's collections and stuff that they want or that they've been looking for. So it's definitely a great place to check out. And make sure you head over to YouTube and check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Like the videos. Every week we have new videos going up. Crypt of Classics. Chuck's Corner. We got some unboxings going up, and there might be a few surprises in there, so you never know. So always keep a lookout. So Chuck, Eddie, thanks for joining us. Great conversation, and we definitely got to pick this up on a future podcast because, man, I could talk about cereals all night, and I'm getting hungry for some right now. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Everyone out there, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
All right. God bless. Take care.
God bless, guys.
Bye-bye.